Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the Kai Shulin project, where last time we got started on the right arm over here. And our goal this time is to make this arm look as much as this one as we can. And once again, I've still done nothing in between the last session of this. I haven't touched up the hand, haven't done anything to this. But first thing we have to do is we need to fix a real tiny mistake I forgot to do last time that was starting to cause issues, which is, as you can see, the little metal piece on the end really doesn't stick out that far on this one. And if I'm feeling the side, I can feel it. Maybe you can even hear it. It's kind of sticking out there because each time I kind of push in, push out, and kind of pushing the clay on here, it's sliding the whole arm over. I glued the forearm to the metal wire. This piece is actually, the top here has actually never been glued to the wire. So because it's never been glued, it keeps moving every time I try to do anything with it. So let's see if we can actually glue stuff to here, and that might help solve the problem. Because yeah, right now you can see the wire is sitting so far out from there that we need to just redo this whole upper part because I forgot a critical step. Alright, so let's get some stuff on here. Is this the bad tube that... This might be the bad tube that I forgot to move out of the way. Whoop, okay, well, it's going. Whoa, okay, we just got a boatload of glue in there. Gonna close that right up again. And let's hope this thing can actually work next time I need it. Although I shouldn't need this again now for some time. But yeah, that, I don't know if that was the good bottle or the not good bottle. So with that, what I want to do is cut the end off of this. We're going to then kind of set this whole thing. Because you see, I cut that off and it's already kind of going a decent chunk of the way in there. Let's get a little more off the bottom edge. Yes, this happens every now and again. It's kind of... Something doesn't quite work right. You can see it already shoves all the way in. So now we have a lot more of that metal, you can see on the side, a lot more of that metal kind of going in than we had before, which in the end will make this, get in there, we'll make this a little sturdier as time goes on. And let's see, where do we want, we're going to want that there, you're going to kind of come up, and your fingers are going to be up something in that-ish range, give or take. So let's see, so if we don't want you coming out like that, okay, so now we can kind of start to re-add some of the stuff. Does this feel like it kind of feels like it's in there, so that's good. Now once again, we do have an indent in this, so I'm going to kind of slowly start re-adding some stuff in here again and kind of mold it to the correct size. That said, I do believe her arm, this arm is bigger than what this is showing. Wrong one. Let's go with that. I do have larger arms, but it feels like it just kind of fits. So like I said, I'm just kind of going with it with that. And maybe when I fix up the hand down here, make that actually look good. Because right now it doesn't look good at all. When I actually make that look good, make this one look good, which also does not look good at all. Some things will get kind of fixed out at that point. until then, alright, so we're going to need this to kind of come in. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. Otherwise, good news on my front the last day. The game is done. We have finished. The war is over. Everybody is happy. Everything that has happened is going to happen. And I now have free time again. It was a longer session. But although you probably already know the game is done because this is being posted. The game ends on what's going out for Monday. And this is being posted on Tuesday, so if you see the thumbnails of stuff, you know the game is done. But nope, war is over. War is over. I have more free time again. I'm not training for an ultra marathon thing. I'm no longer playing a game where I have to set aside 2 to 3 hour blocks of time to ensure that I can record what I want to record without having issues. So we're getting ourselves into a good place. Like I said, with that, I might change up my schedule just a little bit, but I think if anything, I might do like a Sunday showing or something. I'm not 100% sure, but as of right now, nothing is immediately going to change. The Tuesday, Wednesday, or the Tuesday, Thursday, Friday on this is still going to continue. It just, I may add another one after that, for like Sunday or something. So expect a announcement or something of that sort later on in the week when I figure out what I want this schedule to be. Part of me might just want to take some time off again too and just do maybe 3 of these a week for like, basically just do out this one more week like this and then go and do an extra one just so I have at least a little bit more of a resting time kind of between. Again, between the racing and this, it's been quite a bit of stuff. And it might not be bad just to kind of sit back for a little bit. But we will see. We will see. No immediate plans, but some will be coming somewhat soon-ish by the end of the week. Otherwise, as much as I make fun of the games taking all the time, I still really enjoy that one. Strategy games, they are fun. When they really kick in, they really kick in. Good thing with that one is dialogue and stuff is generally kind of minimalist on that one. There is a lot of time not in combat missions and whatnot, but a lot of that is kind of leveling up your troops. You're leveling up you're spending your experience, you're spending your money, you're actually doing stuff. So story stuff does take up some time, but it's not an overwhelming majority of it, unlike I've seen on certain other ones. I'm looking at you. God, Path of Radiance. It feels like I just never cared about the dialogue at all in that one. The Fire Emblem. And it just kept going. Never did finish that game. Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. It's just, that one is way too much game. It almost feels like it's double the length of this one. Although technically there is like, I've only done like half the number of missions in the game. There are skirmishes you can do afterwards, which I guess are harder versions of the maps you've already cleared. You also have like each kind of squad member or kind of small group of squad members have their own kind of like personal missions and that they kind of go through. So there is more content if you want to do more content. It's just for what I was interested in. I think we're good. And the fact that nobody really watches, very few people have actually watched any of those. I think we're good on that front. I do like the ability to move. Like I said, the difference between this one and the first game was the ability to move your troops great distances. You have the APC, the Armored Personnel Carrier, which can move a select number, a very small portion of your troops further in if you want to do like kind of, which kind of made up for like kind of risk reward kind of scenarios. You can risk sending a small group of people forward, but which could get you footholds or whatnot into a current map or into a current scenario faster But at the same time, because you can only carry so many people forward, it created kind of a great risk to do so. Because all of a sudden, if your enemy's turn comes and they just want to wipe you out, they could always just kind of come and swarm you, and they could do stuff to take out your kind of front runner guys. So the ability to the mobility aspect of the game, I think, was really well, or at least the missions that worked well, really took advantage of that risk reward scenario. Where yes, you could try to do something, however, was it worth the risk to go forward? I think giving the orders and whatnot was really good. I believe the ship orders they had once you kind of join the Navy and do that kind of part about halfway through the game. Ship orders were the biggest trap in the game. You spend a lot of like money and resources getting those ship orders, and then basically 1 out of every 3 missions allows you to use your ship to do bombardments, to scan for stuff, to heal your guys, or whatever the thing is. It really kind of became the biggest trap in the end of this whole thing. Whoop, we have arm that doesn't need to come down there. So there's definitely a lot of stuff I now know going in if I were to go and do stuff again. But at the same time, the fun part of a strategy game is not knowing what's coming next. Because once you do kind of know what's coming, you can just prepare all your guys for it. So it's part of the excitement is getting yourself immediately into a bad situation, reevaluating, getting yourself back out. So it's not one of those I would be probably going back to, at least the main quest line, anytime soon. If I were to, it would be probably years and years and years before I'd come back to it again. However, if I ever did feel like it, I could go back and do the individual character missions or whatnot, because those would be, I think I did like 2 of them in my first playthrough, and that was it. So I really haven't done many of those to begin with. So those would be kind of fair game, I think, if I ever wanted to come back to it, just for a lark. But no, it was good times. It was good times. The last chapter's a terrible chapter. I'm not gonna lie. It's just too much like big open spaces with just random guys just kind of randomly thrown in there, and if you don't get something right the first time, it penalizes you bigly on turns because they have scenarios that are kind of cyclical in nature. If you miss a turn on something, it's going to take another 2 turns before your opportunity comes around again to make up for it. So I think the last chapter's worth of stuff was just not, I think, good from a design standpoint. You almost had to know what was coming beforehand before you could actually do those missions correctly. And I think that was kind of to the detriment of it. But really, other than that, I think it was really enjoyable. And I need to probably re-glue that in there. Let's get more glue over my fingers. Oh, this thing. Oh, this tube. This must have been the bad tube that I just then put the good tube somewhere else, which is super awesome. I think something may have come out. Not sure. Something came out down in the corner. I don't know if it came out up here, but I might have just mixed up my 2 tubes, the good one and the bad one. And I'm not sure where the other one has disappeared to, so that's awesome. That's it. The plot made no sense in the game. I think first half we were all fine. You're just kind of following along doing, but then really the plot doesn't start until the second half of the game, and once it does, everything just falls apart, and there's no reason to pay attention to it after that. But it's not necessarily one of those you play for the plot. It's one of the good Saturday morning cartoon plots. It makes sense if you don't think about it. But the second you try to make sense of it, you just realize every detail just it falls apart and falls apart hard. Okay, so we have a very flat looking hand going on, so that's kind of cool. Although we're getting close to adding the armor stuff to this. And that would be nice. Because I would really like to get these arms done so I can move on to... The problem with the arms is the same as the problem with the legs. You've kind of done one, you've seen it, and there's no reason to watch the other one. So I just kind of just need to get through this phase so I can then get on with it. Get to the new stuff, because really after this is going to be the camouflage and really head and face, and then we're kind of there. Then we get to the fun part of painting. For me, painting is just like super chill. It's don't really need to think about it. Just kind of it really is just kind of a do kind of thing. The camo part's going to get really involved when we get there, as we can see. That camo is going to be interesting to do, I will say. That said, if anybody has any hard preferences on the snow-colored versus like the autumn-colored, because that's her winter gear, and that's her non-winter gear. If anybody has any strong opinions and wants to put it and wants to air it out, throw it out in the comment section. Let me know. Still haven't figured out which one I want to do yet. But I'm not in a rush to go buy paints or anything right now. So, not that I really need to get that many. I have a pretty decent amount on me at the moment and kind of in those color ranges. So I think I'm a little short on like greens and whatnot, but that's really about it. And that's not green. Neither of those are green. So I do have earthy tones. I do have a whole bunch of kind of whites and off-whites. So I can do stuff. Alright, this hand we do need to be a little bit nicer on than the other, because this one is at least a little more visible on the side. Really, you'd have to turn this model around upside down and all that to kind of see it. But it's still more visible in the hand going into the side like that, even though this thing looks terrible still. I really should fix that so it's not just like eating up real estate on at least the thumbnails I have when I put this thing up online. It's not making a good impression on this. But oh well. Alright, I'm kind of feeling like this didn't actually glue. Move some things around here. Moving things around. Let's. Okay. All I'm doing right now is I'm just cutting this away a little bit to see if I can get. That had something. That had something. Okay, let that sit for a second. No, get in there. Hey, okay. All right, so where are we? 20 minutes, yeah, only 20 minutes in, and we're starting to look a little better. Looking a little better than we were. This is sitting a little better. I do like that the metal part is sticking out further than it was before. This doesn't feel like it's sitting as far as I was at the very start. Because again, if I push in like this, all it's doing is pushing the clay forward, which is kind of pulling the metal out. So it's... we really do want that metal to go in as far as we can to make this work. So maybe if I do a downward angle when I'm pushing this in rather than kind of forward, maybe that'll help keep it in place a little better. Yeah, I do think if I'm going to do another one of these kind of another game character, which I'm going to be honest, there are going to be a lot of these are going to be probably game characters going forward. They're either going to be game or anime, but game just always seems easier to work with in terms of finding good reference materials. Because one thing I've learned with animated stuff, if you try to find images, is the characters will change from scene to scene depending what they want to highlight. You may not notice it during like the shows or whatnot, but if you take screenshots of somebody in one scene, take a screenshot from another, there will be actually pretty noticeable differences in their physiology, in their sizing, in kind of anything depending what somebody wants to highlight on that. So I do find the video game ones tend to be easier to get reference material from because they don't tend to change as much. They will change from, say, if you have, where are we? If you have kind of these types, let's say inspiration images that we have here versus like the finished product, yes, you will see the concept art, that's the word. Concept art to finish, yes, there will be changes. But if you have a 3D model or something to go off of, which well, I guess that is the 3D model right there. That is the model from the game. At least those don't change throughout time if you're doing a 3D game. Anime ones, at least the ones I've attempted in the past, do kind of have some issues with that. But again, not terrible. But if I do that, I'm either going to find, if I can do a shorter game, like one that lasts like maybe 3-4 sessions or whatever, and that's it, I might just post that on the channel. Otherwise, if it's going to be a longer thing, either I'll just keep it to myself, or I might just make up a new channel and stick it on that. I don't think I'm going to have another like 28 episode long endeavor going on this. I want this to be primarily a building channel. Again, whether it's going to be through clay, through wood, through whatever, the building materials may change over time. Right now, I'm still enjoying the clay. I might do another clay one next. I'm not 100% sure. But I still want this to be primarily a building channel. So if I have another kind of big endeavor I want to do, I would maybe stick it somewhere else. Okay, right now we have an arm that's doing non-arm things. Arms don't bend like that. Let's maybe not have that happen. So what we need is a shoulder, or a shoulder and elbow. That kind of comes. We need a little more of a 90-degree going on here. Again, it's not that it's bad doing the games like that. I really did enjoy playing that one. It's just YouTube is not set up for that type of thing, it's set up so each channel is kind of highly focused on what it does, and that's it. So if I want to do a gaming thing, I would just have a gaming type channel. If I want to do a building thing, and have a building channel. If I wanted to go all out on my fitness stuff, I could do a separate fitness channel, but I'm thinking all I need is like maybe what I'm still thinking of doing is like a once a week kind of fitness thing. Just kind of say, here I am, here's what we're doing. If anybody wants to follow along with that, once I kind of get into gear and get out of this kind of off season that I'm in, they can follow along with that. But I think for that, for a once a week thing, I'm gonna be fine sticking that on this channel. But if I want to do something a little more involved than that, the way this website is set up is it's more beneficial to break it up into separate channels that are highly specialized rather than keep one that kind of does everything. So again, we're learning. It's only taken about 100 episodes to learn some things and figure some things out, but that's okay. Which actually, I believe this is episode 96 or 97 going up, so I'm getting pretty close to that 100 mark. We are getting close. Not that it really means anything, but we're getting close to a number that sounds cool when you say it. Again, this started back up in May 26th or something like that, so we've been going for a number of months. End of May to end of September. What that leaves June, July, August, September, 4 months. 4 months to get about 100 episodes in. There we go. We're averaging about 300 episodes a year. A pace that's probably not gonna 100% follow through over time. Okay, that's starting to look a little more correct. You can see a bicep kind of coming down into here, a little more like it's supposed to. Again, she's not supposed to be super built, but at the same time, the big thing is that she's really strong for her size. So you want to have at least a little something kind of going on. But I think with that, we're probably fine to... What I think is I might shrink the top part of this arm just a little bit. Let's see what we have. I still haven't hardened this one yet, so if we have that, yeah. Actually, I'm pretty close on that part. Same there. Yeah, I'm just a hair skinnier, but we're pretty well there. Like I said, I think her arms are bigger than what I have and you, but it still, I feel like it kind of works. I still feel like it generally kind of works with her. I might just shrink it down just a hair. Actually, let's go and shrink just a little bit of this off. We can keep the shoulders a little bigger, but we can take a little bit off of the bicep here. Oop, have to get that off. Don't need everything. Get that part off. No. Because then when we come to this one, I can probably take a little bit off of this one as well. And I don't want to do huge moves at this point, but just shrink it a little bit, get her a little closer to what the reference material is. Okay, there we go. See, look at that. A little smaller, it's all good. Nope, 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 not there. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're taking that much off until you kind of roll it all up together and you realize, okay, we've taken that much of it off of the arm. So just something came off. It's just not super much. Okay, I think we are ready to start doing things on the arm here. So for that, we're going to do the same thing as last time, which is we're going to turn this camera down. I'm going to see we are 30 minutes in, and we're going to see if we can make the arm guard. Okay, hold this up to here. Yeah, I think the end is a little bit wide, but we do kind of get there. Okay. Boop. And as I said before, on this one, I'm going to do the back of the hand here after this is done. Boop. Okay. Got those. I'm losing my stuff. Alright, we're already a little kind of messed up. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize we were still facing down like that. Sorry about that. Okay, so that was one loop. No, we see this part primarily. So again, you look at what's kind of facing up first, and you generally want to put the seam on the other side. That way, if something doesn't come out well, at least it's on the other side. It's called hedging your bets. It's a good practice to have. I am a big fan of hedging bets when need be. That did get me in problems in one or two of the scenarios in the game, where if you want to get like depending how fast you complete missions, or the fewest number of turns will get you better ranks for completing missions, will get you more experience, will get you more money and all that. So there were a couple early on where I had to hedge my bets on two different options that might work in case one failed, and that did come back to bite me a little bit in terms of getting the A ranks. But by and large, I will still hedge bets if I need to, just to kind of make sure stuff works out the way I want it to. And the other one I put on after I put the guard on. So we're there right now. Let's get you out of the way. Get this out of the way. Get that there. Okay. Now we need to start rolling. Rolling. So what are we at? We are set to 5. We're going to reset you to 10 right now, just so I can kind of mix this whole thing up. Or knead it out, not really mix. We're going to 5. Okay, we're at 5. Now we're at 5. Shadunk. All right, we got that. That is plenty long. Good on that front. Now, if I were really good, I would have done 2 copies of the other arm when I did that, so that this would be just ready to go. Because theoretically, they should be the exact same thing. But sometimes, like I've said before, I'm not that good. So we're just going to do this one from scratch again. And first thing I'm going to do is start with something that's large, but not overly large. Now, if you're going to be here, going out to like this is going to be fine. Okay, we can use something like that to kind of get started with. So let's throw you back there. Let's get you guys with that. Okay, now this one is going to be on the underside. Let's go up just a little bit. All right, so what we want, so you're going to do that. And on this side, we can curve you around. You're going to do that. We have our 2 kind of straight lines. So I can just take these, put this up against it where I can see them. Take that off. Once again, I'm trying to get my head around this camera so I can see what's going on. Camera is 100% in my way on that. Not gonna lie. Okay, I don't think this is so bad. That there, that seems fine. And it's really going to be just kind of cutting out the back portion of that, which shouldn't be an issue. Okay, I'm fine with this. Let's go and kind of push that in. Oops, sorry. Just kind of pushing in the edge down by that. Now, unfortunately, when I'm done with this, it's going to wind up here. You're not going to see any of it. But I'm also ding dong. I forgot one tiny detail. We need to make the shirt part first. Whoops. Well, this is why we have this. And it shouldn't actually affect anything. So the shirt, once again, just like the other side, we're going to start it down here. Somehow my brain just might not be in it today. I don't know. Maybe the brain is not 100% there. Whatever. This is an easy fix. It actually shouldn't affect anything. So we're doing the same trick as last time, where now we have the end of a sleeve. Just get that kind of going. Let's really go and smooth this out. Okay. And now with that, now we get our lines. This should be actually quite a bit easier because I'm not having to deal with going kind of underneath here to get in. Everything is pretty nicely accessible. I'm right-handed, not ambidextrous. I can do this stuff left-handed, but I just very much so prefer not to. Now, if I wanted to throw like a football or a baseball or something left-handed, then I have some problems. But actually, most building stuff I can do with both arms because I'll be honest, after 20 years of building stuff, you pretty much see everything that can be offered, and there's definitely situations where it's super beneficial to do things left-handed and whatnot. So it just stuff like that has come up. So building things like this, if push comes to shove, I can do certain things left-handed. I can hammer stuff things left-handed. I can, if I need to, kind of manipulate things at small scale like this left-handed. It just, if I have a choice and if I can get around doing that, better believe I'm going to be getting around and trying to use my dominant hand as much as possible. Yes. I was starting to put the arm guard on. It was like something just felt wrong, but I couldn't quite tell what it was. And finally, it's like, oh, duh. I see what I'm missing. The good thing with clay, you can always redo things if you just kind of accidentally turn your brain off. Not that that's hard to do when you're doing stuff on a weekend. All right, almost there. Yeah, you missed me on camera doing all this on the shirt side of things before I did the hardening on that, but it's pretty much the exact same thing. It just, yeah, okay. So let's get back to you. Now that we were rudely interrupted by having to do that arm guard, or by having to do the sleeve that goes up the arm. Okay, I do want you. Let's see, I want to go a little bit further this way. Okay, I think that's fine. This is going out way too far, so just cut some of that excess off so it's not flopping around on here. Don't need that flopping around. All that's going to do is create problems. that's not the one I need. I need you just to kind of re-round this all off. Okay, so if we have that, now next thing I think I did was I made the next layer of wire for up top, or cord, or whatever. That's probably plenty. Let's get that little thick part off. That should be enough to go around. And now again, you do kind of go pretty much right at the top. Okay, so next time, let's not get that close. That's almost too close. Or rather, it's not almost too close. I'm going to say that is too close. I don't think there's an almost about it. Adding this is making me feel a whole lot better right now, that there's actually some detail on this arm. Okay, and as I'm putting my fingers on here, I am doing stuff to this, which is not good. Alright, let's get cord number 2. I'm gonna cut you a little bigger this time. I think I cut you bigger. Maybe I didn't. It's all of a sudden not feeling like I did. Well, I cut it big enough. That's all we need. It is big enough. Alright, there we go. Let's kind of pack it in there a little bit. Let's see if we can get both of these to kind of work together. They should be kind of together. Let's really just kind of get them together and do just a doubly make sure we get that line down the middle. The important part is to just kind of keep it from wobbling back and forth. That's going to be the most noticeable thing if something wobbles. So just kind of getting that straight. And now we have down here, and I believe all we did on this was I took this, I moved the camera up just slightly so my hands are a little more accommodating. Now that line is not going to be visible until we do painting because it blends in with the other one. but all right, so we have that. We can come back and very carefully adding these lines. And once again, I'm kind of keeping this steady, and I'm twisting the hand and the arm just to kind of get that to go around. And just like that, we have the armor on there. And really, this, I don't mind it flopping up a little bit like it is. How high? I have you going up to about, yeah, it does go up kind of all the way. So let's see, so we have you kind of coming in to there, and then up. We're just going to finish off this kind of one detail, and then we're going to end things off pretty much over there. And then next time, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do next time. Because I can either try to finish off and touch up the hands on camera, just so you can kind of see them coming together. Or I can do all the kind of little touch-up stuff here off camera, kind of get it all finished, make it all look good, harden it, and just start with the fresh section after that, kind of doing the camouflage stuff. It's going to be, I think, easier for me to do the finish off the touch-ups with the hands off camera just because of how detail-oriented they are. It's going to be a lot easier doing that at quality off camera. But I don't know. I'm going to finish this. I'm probably going to go out for a run or something, because I should do some kind of workout. I really haven't done much in the last couple weeks since the race. And then I'll figure it out from there. For once, I'm not posting this thing right after actually doing it. I'm actually a couple days ahead now. Okay, so... Alright, so that kind of gets that arm going. And now that you're on here, you can not get it into the little hole. And almost none of that is visible. Thumbs up. But at least I can't get parallel lines to ever be straight. Sure would be nice if things were actually straight. But yeah, no, that's where we are right now, and next time we're going to see where we go from here. At least now we have arms that are in. They're not hardened. They're not 100% done. Like I said, I gotta fix that, and gotta fix this one to get them where we need them to be, and then we'll figure out from there. Cause next big thing is either I can do the face and the head. I can't do the hair yet, or I can come back and get this camo on here. So it's going to be one of those two things coming up later on this week. So it's gonna be good stuff to look forward to. But yep, until then, and yeah, that's kind of where fingers gonna come up. But until then, well, enjoy.